Hello, happy holidays, and welcome to Bookmas Day 8, where I'm going to be showing you guys how I keep track of my personal library. So currently I own around a little over 500 books, and I have always been a person that's had a very analytical brain. And over the years, how I've tracked my books has definitely evolved. I think I started off my very first tracker was just keeping a list of all the books I owned in a notebook. And then from there, it went into a Word document. And then from there, it went into an Excel sheet. And then from there, it's evolved into a full out little mini database. So it's definitely been an evolution of how I track my books. I did at one point try tracking my personal library on Goodreads when I realized that, Goodreads existed and everything. However, it just wasn't enough for me still. It didn't contain all the information I needed, especially when I was really trying to curate a personal library. And yes, with Goodreads, you can use that shelf feature, but it just wasn't enough. And it was also a pain in the butt to kind of move books around and everything like that, especially when it comes to you only have technically some main defaults of read and unread. And it just wasn't enough for me. And so then I moved into a more Google Sheets format where now it's evolved into what I call my personal library tracker 2.0, because there's been many versions of this library tracker. But I thought I would share with you what that looks like, how I use it, what I use it for, and all of that. But before we get into that, I want to talk about why I track my personal library, because I really don't need to, in all honesty. I mean, I can see the books that I own on my shelf, but there are a few different reasons as to why I track my personal library. The first one's very simple. I want to know what I own. Simple as that. Another reason why I created this library tracker was because of the fact that I wanted to be able to see my reading patterns. What are the books that I gravitate towards the most? What are the books I'm reading the most? What are the genres of those books that I'm reading the most? Is the authors mainly female, male, non-binary, etc., etc., etc.? So I really wanted to see where my reading patterns were lying the most. I think that's really important for me because I want to know what is the main genre that I am consuming the most, or what is the author's gender that I'm consuming the most. Because the thing is I'm always trying to branch out and try new authors and try new genres and try new books in general. And it's just really important to me to see where my reading pattern lies in the first place. Which leads me to my big reason as to why I track my personal library, and that is because I want to continue diversifying not only my reading, but what is on my shelves. It is really important for me to build a diverse library. It's something that has always been really important to me. It's not only just a good thing to be able to branch out and try new books, but it's a great thing as growth as a reader, is to be able to step out of your comfort zone and try books that maybe you wouldn't have tried in the past. So very important reasons to me, and I just really enjoy it. I don't know, it's just my brain. I'm a type A person. So I'm going to be showing you guys my personal library tracker, as well as, because I did get a few books recently. If you haven't seen my little cozy book shopping vlog, definitely check that out. But I am going to be showing you guys a few of these books, how I input the information into my personal library tracker. So let's get into it. Let me show you my personal reading tracker. All right, so here is my personal library tracker. So as I said, I have evolved it from a notebook into this Google Sheets that is very analytical for my brain, and it makes me really, really happy. So we're gonna just start from the left and move through. The very top of the personal library tracker is for me to pretty much have a consensus or a total of different things. So if I scroll to the left here, I wanted to see the books that I owned. I wanted to see, of those books that I owned, how many of them have been read. And then of course I want to see the books that are unread, as well as I wanted to see the books that I've DNF'd. Then if you scroll to the right here, technically I could have 4 data points here, but I don't know what else I really want to track here. We have the number of series that I own. I really wanted to see all of the books that are considered a series. And then of course I wanted to see, in total, how much have I invested into my library, my personal library. Now, this number, this $8,791.63, isn't technically an accurate number because I've bought books, I've gotten rid of books, and so this number will flow with what's happening. It's not technically a static number. It's not just going to continue to grow. It is going to change every time I remove a data point, as well as it's going to change every time I add a data point. Some is actually from the MSRP price down here, so that means the actual price of the book, but as we know, sometimes that isn't always accurate because you could get it at a used bookstore, you could get it on sale. Then when we go down, here's where like the data really gets fun. This is my graphs that I've created. At the top left here, we have the LGBT representation. Then below it is the genres I own. And as you can see, the top 2 genres that I own are fantasy and manga. It's crazy how much fantasy and manga I own. I have been trying to get away from them, try other ones. Once again, this is just a really great way for me to see, okay, I own a lot in these genres. It's time to start branching out and trying different genres. The book length one is just for me to see the number of books that have like 400 pages and the number of books that have 600 pages. Then going to the right, this right area is where I have most of my like author data points. So we have the author gender. Once again, as you can see, I own a large majority of female authors, something that I've definitely been trying to get away from in the last few years and continue diversifying my shelves in author gender and of course author ethnicity. This is something that I've been working really hard towards probably 5 or so years as I realize I read a lot of books that are from white authors. And so I've been pushing to have my library very diverse. This used to be mostly a deep purple, but now as you can see, I have definitely almost half with a variety of author ethnicity and half as Caucasian or white authors. So still something that I'm really pushing and growing. And then as you can see, I have an empty chart here. It's just for me to potentially add in a different chart if I want to. I don't know what else I'm going to track here. Maybe author nationality is one that I should probably track as well. Let's move on to where I'm actually tracking all this. Like, how are these graphs being populated? The graphs are being populated by this table down here. This is where all of the data goes. Starting from the left, we have book title, book author, if it's a series or standalone. Then we have date purchased, date read, and number of days between purchased and finishing. These 3 columns are actually brand new columns. I just added them a week ago. I wanted to see how long it took from the moment I've purchased the book to the moment I read the book. Is it 5 days? Is it 10 days? Is it 365 days? It's definitely something I'm really interested in seeing. And from there we have status. The statuses are fairly simple. Are they read, unread, DNF'd, or unsure of? As you can see, I don't have currently reading. I do not use my personal tracker as something to track my current reads. I use Storygraph for that. Then we have format, but I'm also seeing that I forgot there's format and then there's hardcover / paperback. I'm gonna have to remove one of these rows, but format is just if it's hardcover or if it's paperback. I don't track any of the digital copies I own. We have genre, so what genre it is. Target range, I have not added this in. I just transferred a lot of this data from my version 1.0. It have that target range, meaning young adult, adult, new adult, middle grade, children's, etc. I do like tracking that as well, so I do need to add that back in. Then there's the book length, LGBT rep. There is 3 options for this one. Then acquired is how did I get the book? So did I buy it? Did I get it sent by a publisher? Did I get it gifted and I used a gift card, or did I get it gifted and it was a present from someone? Then I have the MSRP price. So this is just what the book is. So if you go to the back of the book, it's going to give you the price of the book. This is not technically an accurate representation of what the book actually costs. I do have the publication date for these and the ISBN. I have the author gender, author ethnicity, and then author nationality is another one that is a brand new one. So that is how I populate all these graphs, is I use this information down here to populate what's above it. So now let's go in and let's add a few books. Let's add in Lovelight Farms as well as What the River Knows. So if you didn't notice, I arrange my personal library tracker by author's first names. B.K. Borison, so I'm going to go down to where the B's are, and then for the first one, it's just the title, so we put in Lovelight Farms. I believe this is part of like a standalone series, so I need to figure out what that standalone series names is, and I put that in parentheses. Then we put in the author as a standalone. Technically, it is like in a series or something like that, but I list it as a standalone. I did buy this on 11/28/25, and then I haven't read it yet, so we're gonna leave that, and then that one will populate once I've added in a read date. It is unread. It is a paperback. It is a romance. Technically, it is adult. And then the number of pages is 336, so I do have this in a range. So let's put 300 to 350. From what I know, there is no representation, specifically LGBT representation in this book, so I'm going to put none. I did buy it myself, so I'm going to put bought. The MSRP price is $17, and that is what I actually paid too. And then I got to get rid of this one, but we'll put paperback again. This was published, when was it published? 11/10 of 21. I do put in the ISBN, and usually I already have this copied. Female, the author I believe is Caucasian, and I believe, if I remember correctly, she is American. So that is pretty much how I fill this out. Once it gets filled out, as you notice, this was 506, it's now 507. So let's now do What the River Knows, which is a young adult fantasy. And there you have it, guys. That is how I not only track my personal library, but how I input new books into my personal library tracker. If I was going to remove or unhaul books, I just delete the rows. Simple as that. There's nothing too extravagant about unhauling or anything like that. But it's just a really great way for me to not only get an idea of what my reading patterns are like, but it's a great way for me to continue to diversify my personal library. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next Bookmas video. Bye!